Well, being the last speaker, the challenge is always to, what more can you add? Well, you see, we talk about the challenges that we face. Perhaps let me just highlight some of the challenges that the economy domestically are facing. Some of those, things that at the back of my mind is always a concern, and that is, in the pursuit to have strong growth, are we sacrificing quality of life? Is life becoming a rat race? Furthermore, going forward, some of those constraints that could actually impede growth in Singapore actually is this aging population problem. Birth rate has been falling, dependency ratio has been rising, and how can we still generate a sizable pool of human capital that will still be able to power this economy? Yes, importing foreign talent is one measure, but is this sustainable? It's tough to maintain a 65% Singaporean populations. Are we willing to live in a place where you feel like a foreigner yourself? So therefore, how can we, encourage more people, to have babies? I myself have done my part. In fact, I just had 2 newborn babies earlier this year. So you see, I'm a true blue economist because even when it comes to family planning, I believe in economies of scale. Now, first, we have discussed, I mentioned some of the economic weaknesses, some of the economic challenges that we face domestically. The scenario, the external outlook, the external landscape, I think Minister has mentioned it, Professor Koh has mentioned it, and Mr. Ting has also mentioned it. The emergence of Asia, we've set China at the center of it. Asia is generating more and more its own growth. In fact, based on our DBS Group research, 2010 is a special year because 2010 is Asia year. It marks the year whereby Asia will generate more domestic demand, more to the global economy than the largest economy in the whole world, US. Specifically, for every $1 additional of domestic demand that the US economy put on the table, Asia this year will be able to put out $1.02. And this will be a trend going forward. Asia is going to drive more and more the global economy, and is right at our doorstep. So for companies, I believe our companies have been leveraging on that. Individual-wise, I think we should be looking into this as well. How can we capitalize on that? How can we ensure that our next generations will be able to ride on the emergence of China, emergence of Asia, which is why I'm seeing more and more parents sending their children to attend, to improve their Mandarin standard. All right. And last but not least, what is the key strength that made Singapore successful, and what will this key strength continue to help sustain growth in Singapore? Now, what is this strength that I'm talking about? Well, we can talk about having an incorruptible civil service. We can talk about having a world-class infrastructure. We can talk about having a very competitive labor force. But what is this one most important strength that Singapore possesses that you can't replicate it elsewhere in any other country? To me, as far as I'm concerned, is economic agility. Now, this economy, being small and open, was able to reinvent itself time and again in times of crisis, to respond to the upcoming threat, and to capitalize on the opportunities that lies ahead. It didn't come about because we have a good government, a good civil service. It came about because of every one of you, individual. It's a collective effort. Let me just elaborate more on that. Now, tell a Korean worker that they need to have a pay cut so that the company can survive, so that the economy can remain competitive. You know what to expect from them. Now, tell a US steel company that they need to open the door to cheap imports. It's tough. You certainly have the door slammed on your face. But in Singapore, collectively as a nation, we have responded to many challenges in a very efficient and effective way. Now the question is, how can we maintain this economic agility? We need to make adjustments from time to time to respond to the changing landscape. Business cycle, global business cycle is getting shorter and shorter. So such changes you will see coming in more and more frequently. So this is what we have to bear in mind. To maintain the economic agility, we need to have a mindset agility as well. We must be able to adapt to ever-changing environment very quickly in order to survive.